Heya folks, how's it going? My name is Lexi and I really love tabletop role-playing games. So much so that we sit down together once a week, every week, and we review one here at the gaming table. I try to keep these videos short, under 10 minutes, so you can find your next game. If that sounds interesting to you, I highly encourage you to press subscribe and keep watching today's video. Today I'm taking a look at a game from the publishers Rowan, Rook and Deckard. I really enjoyed their previous publications, Spire and Heart, so I was keeping a bit of an eye on them and saw that there was a new game out. I want to thank everyone who has donated to my Ko-Fi page. All of the donations go straight back into the running costs of the channel, mostly covering costs of getting games printed and bound when I'm being sent digital copies of games to review. So it frees up my wallet so I can purchase games I'm also interested in reviewing. If you would like to donate to the channel, you can find the link to do so in the description box of this video. I pop a short little thank you at the end of my videos to everyone who's donated in the previous month. From today's review, we are taking a look at Eat the Reich. This game is set in the time period where Paris was occupied by the German Nazi Party in World War II. In this game, the players take on the roles of vampires who have been assembled into an elite team with one singular mission: kill Hitler and drain all of his blood. The organization that brought everyone together is called FANG. It's an acronym, but we don't know what it stands for. The method in which FANG deploys vampires for these elite secret missions is a coffin drop. A coffin drop, as the name may suggest, is when the vampires are placed in a reinforced, extra strong coffin and just launched out of a plane. This game manual is pretty slim, so you don't necessarily get a lot of information about the backdrop and setting, even really who the organization FANG is. The setting here is meant to help you get into the mood of the game. That mood is a game of Hammer horror-esque ultra-violence. Your characters in this game are going to be carving their way through piles of Nazis to glorious blood and gore. Some details of the world are going to be up to the discretion of your group. The characters that the players can choose from in this game are written so that there's a bit of flexibility to their backstories. You can colour some details in. There's a couple of questions that the game manual suggests your group settles before you start to play. I think perhaps one of the most interesting ones is what to do about civilian casualties. This is a game of supreme glorious violence, so you need to make a decision of whether or not civilians happen to get caught in the crossfire and hurt or killed, or whether or not they've got rubber physics attached to them, and regardless of what they do, they bounce and then get back up again. The manual also provides some guidelines on how to approach the subject of fighting Nazis sensitively. I think the essence of the guidelines is to understand the history that is there. Some of the suggestions are there to remind the players that they don't need to invent new atrocities. For example, players are encouraged not to invent new atrocities to assign to the 20th century. We have plenty of those. Another one is to remember that humans were the cause of all this suffering, and not to push the Nazi Party agenda onto some unknown or invented supernatural force. Humans did this evil. I suppose the strangest detail about the setting for me in this game manual is that it mentions that the organization FANG was arranged by the Allied forces. There were plenty of leading figures on the Allied forces side who were evil fascists themselves. There were leaders in the Allied forces who themselves were pretty evil. So it's a little bit interesting to wonder. So I guess it's a little bit interesting that to me it's interesting they're happy to put together supernatural forces to fight fascism when they could also have those forces turned on them. I'm probably thinking about it too deeply. This is a game for silly, fun violence. Eat the Reich uses a system called the Havoc engine. This is a system that uses pools of d6s. So when your player wants your character to do something, you look to their sheet and to their stats. For the most basic rolls, you choose an appropriate stat and then roll some d6s. The higher the number on the stat, the more dice you roll. Now with these basic rolls, you can potentially add more dice by using special equipment, or a character's unique ability. Each character that you can choose in the game has unique abilities on their sheet. In this game, all characters have access to the same stats: Brawl, Con, Fix, Search, Shoot, Sneak, and Terrify. Depending on the character you pick, they're going to have a higher number in one of these scores versus others. When the player characters roll, the Game Master themselves builds a pool of dice to roll. The number of dice in the Game Master's pool is to represent the level of threat that the game is presenting. Once the pools of dice are rolled, you compare the different results. The players and the GM compare the dice that rolled the highest. Generally, you're going to discard any dice that rolled a 3 or below. 4 and above are successes. So you want to see who got the most successes and who got the greatest degree of successes. For example, if the GM rolls a 6, that provides some extra damage that they can assign to a character. For the players, there's a few more options, so rolling really well can give them special options in terms of extra damage, maybe a future advantage, or perhaps even invoking a neat little ability or mechanical trick. The mechanics of this game are focused on that high adrenaline action. It's a game where your characters basically fight their way to a solution. If there's ever a mystery that comes up that needs to be solved, the way it's going to be solved in Eat the Reich is by punching your way through enough Nazis that someone gives you the answer you need. Then, of course, you're going to kill that Nazi. This isn't a subtle game. It's not pretending to be. This game manual is so visually striking. I love the tone of the colors they've chosen, these blues and greens and purples with this hot pink accent. It really draws you into the page and makes even flipping through the manual a bit of a treat. I especially love the illustrations of the different vampires. Each one has a super unique style and personality. I guess part of me wishes I could make my own characters, or perhaps go beyond the setting of Paris. I think you'd have to do a bit of deconstructing of the mechanics to make your own characters. I think perhaps moving to a different setting or having your vampires target a different character might be a little bit easier to manage. I know there's some independent game designers who've written supplements for Eat the Reich already, so I wonder if we'll get some from Rowan, Rook, and Deckard as well, or if they're already out and I've just missed them. This game is camp. If you love some kinda silly hyper-violence, then I think you're gonna get a kick out of this game. Not a game that takes itself seriously, nor is it for a long campaign. It's for maybe a couple of sessions at most. You can get a digital copy of Eat the Reich from the Rowan, Rook and Deckard website for $25 US. That's for a physical and a digital copy. I think I paid just around $50 Australian for my copy, and that's pretty equivalent with the exchange rate. If you want to, you can just get a digital copy for $15. I think because of the style of the game and how slim the manual is, it's possible to run it from just a digital copy. I do think, however, all the different fun aspects to the game in the physical I do think, though, that the physical copy is so much fun to own. They've got different textures on the cover, and it's kind of a treat to hold a physical copy. So that's Eat the Reich, a game where you can hunt down and destroy one of the 20th century's most notorious figures. What do you think? Is there a villain of history you would like to have a coffin drop arranged for? I mean, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. While you're there, I encourage you to perhaps like this video and even share it with someone who might find it interesting. If you want to keep up with the gaming table, please feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications so YouTube will tell you when I've next uploaded. I want to thank everyone who's donated to my Ko-Fi page. All of those donations go straight back into the running costs of the channel, so it's really appreciated. If you would also like to help out the gaming table, you can do so by following the link in my description box to my Ko-Fi page. I want to thank you all for watching and discussing Eat the Reich with me. I hope you're all well, and I look forward to seeing you next time at the gaming table. Bye!